I'm Brandon A. Denson, and I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I'm here with Ryan.
Yep. I'm Ryan Fleming, and I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts.
And how long have you been living with type 1 diabetes?
I've been living with type 1 diabetes for 22 years now.
22 years. Mm-hmm. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
May 8th was the day. 1997. Yeah. So 20. Gonna be. Yeah. Just about 22 years. Yeah.
So when you were diagnosed, did a lot of things change for you?
To be honest, I mean, I didn't think so. I had a lot more responsibility as far as, checking my sugar and counting carbs, making sure how much I ate, and all in that respect. But the good thing is, I feel my eating habits were actually very good to begin with. So I didn't really have to change that much in that respect.
Okay.
It was just more of checking the sugar and giving myself my insulin that was the biggest change,
Got it.
Good.
So a lot of us have something that we like to go to when we have a low. So I have to ask you, what is your favorite low snack?
My favorite low snack would have to be Reese's peanut butter cups. And they're actually frozen too, so they're in the freezer, and they're right there, ready for me to eat them when need be.
I got it, because who wants a melted Reese's cup, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's such a mess, but
No, I'm not mad at you. I could probably eat those things for days.
Oh yeah.
So I want you to finish the sentence. I wish people knew, and you can frame it however you want, but I guess you wish people knew what about diabetes. So I wish people knew
that it's not a death sentence.
I like that.
It's something that I think about in regards to diabetes, because people that are not educated or enough or well enough, they think that you're going to lose limbs. They're going to end up having no eyesight, that kind of stuff, and eventually die at a young age. But in actuality, especially nowadays with all the medical advances, there's a lot more we can do to take care of ourselves and live a healthy, happy life.
I believe that. I think that was a great answer. Diabetes is not a death sentence, so remember that. It's not. So, what advice would you give to somebody that was newly diagnosed, whether it's the parents, the caretakers, or the individual living with diabetes? What would be the first piece of advice you would give to them?
I would, as far as, we'll say, with the caregivers, the first piece of advice I would give would have to say, don't stress about the new responsibilities or the upcoming responsibilities of the diabetes, because of everything that you can do, you can help your child with the diabetes the best you can. And there's so many things that you can do. There's so much education. There's so many technological advances that help with, taking care of it. And so you're not alone. There's so many different cases of diabetes that, somebody's going to be able to be there to help you.
You got it.
And as far as a child being diagnosed, I like to think that be proud of something that you have. It's it become part of you, and it's a feeling of, oh hey, I got this. I can. It's not I can do this. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to explain, to be honest
No.
with you, but it's just, you
No,
know, you kind of be proud of something that is now part of you. You know, it's
Correct.
not a negative thing. You know.
It's one of those things that we look at, and it's we have type 1 diabetes, but it doesn't define who we are or what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
and for, for parents, it can be challenging because it's like, oh my God, what do I do? Like my kid has this, that, and I always put it in the terms of, if the kid has it, the parent has it, because, depending on how old the kid is, the parent has to do a lot of the work that the kid would eventually do once they grow up and mature and they can do it. So it's almost like the whole family essentially has it. The siblings have it because they need to know what's going on with the individual that has it. The parents always need to know what's going on, whether they're giving shots or changing pump infusion sets or loading reservoirs for the pumps and things like that, counting carbs for the kid. So, I always say, if the kid has it, the family has it. It's a family disease, and it can be a lot, but at the end of the day, you can overcome it, So I think that's the most important thing.
I like how you described that. Yeah, it's so true. No,
Do you get annoyed when people ask if you can eat that?
actually, that's a good question. I feel like I used to get annoyed when I was first diagnosed, and I don't know if that was because of the immaturity. Maybe I was young. I just like, why is someone asking me that? It's just like, is it really your business? It's really not. But now that I've gotten older, like, it really, I kind of let that roll off the shoulder.
Doesn't bother.
No, because I mean, everything in moderation. That's how I feel with that. But
I like that.
But it's something that I know that comes with the territory, and people are going to ask me that.
Correct.
As long as I can be comfortable with my answer.
Definitely.
It's all good.
So when you're asked that, do you take that as a time to actually educate somebody on like the disease? Because obviously the biggest misconception is, and I just had this the other day when I went to the barbershop, I was trying to explain the difference between type 1 and type 2, which they have a lot of similarities, but they are very different. And I was like, do you know what the difference is? It's like, oh, you can't eat sugar. And it's like, well, technically, you know what I mean? Both diabetic type 1 and type 2,
Right.
you can eat sugar.
Right.
And I had to kind of go in further. I said, it's not really the sugars that you look at, it's the carbs, because the carbs break down into sugar. So it was like, oh, I didn't know that. So like I always, when somebody asks me, for me, it's pretty much my way to kind of spread awareness of the disease and kind of make them more knowledgeable, so they aren't, just running with the misconception and saying, oh, can you eat that? Oh, because obviously when you hear diabetes, we think of a lot of different, we know what it is, but a lot of people, they don't really know. So it's based off of what they hear. So
That's so true. Yes,
Yeah,
I would agree. And yes, I find myself trying to use that as a learning or teaching moment. Honestly, it really depends on who the individual is, because you kind of get a sense of the individual, if they're willing to listen, or if they're willing to, want to hear more about it, or they're just kind of stuck with what in their ways in a way. Just
Yeah.
like they really don't want to hear my rationale behind them. Like,
Correct.
So it really depends on the vibe I'm getting for each individual. But more often than not, I'll use that as, hey, actually, this is, a little more of a teaching moment.
Got it. I like that. One word to describe you when you're either low or high. If you can do it in one word. Sometimes it's kind of tough because it's many, there's many different emotions and things going on. But I guess one word for when you're low, and then one word to describe it, how you feel when you're high.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, because, we both know that there are different symptoms and different feelings, emotions, in each case. But I would say the primary feeling you said for being low, I just feel spacey. I feel out there. Just not my focus is not there, and it's difficult for me to remain focused. And I just, I'm like, okay, something's off, and more often than not, that's the blood sugar being, low. And then as far as being high, I find, as far as the feeling, I honestly feel a little irritable at times. I think that as far as emotional wise or feeling wise, but physical symptoms, I'd be thirsty, very, very thirsty, and that's what I find are the main symptoms and symptomatics of that. Actually, even I've noticed lately, to be honest with you, I feel more pressure behind the eyes. I don't know if you ever thought of that, but just like this,
no.
it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just like my vision is
Blurry or
not blurry, but it feels. Yeah, I guess pressure is the best way to describe it. It's just like it's like something's there, but they're not. I can see fine, but it's just like it's. So that's been relatively new the past couple of months.
Okay.
So I don't know, and I mean the common thread I do notice is that the sugar is a little bit on the higher side. And I'm like, that's new.
Yeah.
Whether is it because I'm getting older, it's a possibility.
Definitely.
But yeah, those are probably the ones I can describe to you.
Now, what would you say to, I guess, being able to feel your lows and highs? Is that something that you're like, you could tell the difference without checking, or would you, can you, if you're low without checking, like you can feel it, or high without checking?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
The symptoms are definitely there. I'm actually glad that I still feel my symptoms, because I know, especially with being low, for example.
Okay.
There's a thing called hypoglycemic unawareness. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but
I have.
But yeah, it's the symptoms. Definitely, I could tell when I'm low versus when I'm high, for sure.
Definitely. So this wasn't a planned question, but I have to ask: do you use a CGM?
Yes.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what type of CGM do you use?
A Dexcom G6.
G6. And how do you like it?
I really do love having it. More often than not, the pros of having it, I love seeing the trend line of where the sugar is. Every couple of minutes. It's something. For those who don't know what Dexcom, it's a continuous glucometer that is attached to a transmitter in an insertion site that we put stomach somewhere, back of the arms, what have you, and it's nice checking my sugar every couple of minutes and just seeing where I'm going up and down, how fast. It's a nice visual aid as opposed to just a snapshot of checking your sugar.
Got it.
I think the only downfall I have with it is there are times when I notice that the GCM will tell me I'm a certain blood sugar. Say, for example, I'm 86. It says I'm 86, and then I go check my sugar and I'm actually 146. It's just there's such a large discrepancy. It's
at times. Do you get that? Do you get that often, or is it like? Do you notice it like? Let's say maybe you went to go work out and it was at a certain number, and then all of a sudden you checked it, and then like maybe it got thrown off by that, or is it something you notice, like a consistent theme? Or
I wouldn't say consistent, but I do have to calibrate my GCM like at least every 10 to 12 hours.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's the calibration part that maybe it's it can be off.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to figure out what would cause it. I mean, I do notice that, say, getting out of the shower, if I'm sweaty, like let's say for the gym, the water in the site or at the point does affect
the readings.
The readings in that respect.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, I'm
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is going to be, I think it's a good question.
Every question's a good question.
I appreciate that. What has living with type 1 diabetes taught you about yourself?
Living with type 1 diabetes has taught me... that's a good question. I would say it might be a couple things, to be honest with you. It's learning to remain patient with myself, and even being like diligent or hard, consistent. You know, those two things kind of pop up the most, where being patient with my abilities to do the best that I can. Yeah, hey, it's diabetes. It's not always going to be easy. You know,
Correct.
I mean, if we were in range every day, it wouldn't be diabetes.
Exactly.
You know, so being patient with the fact that, you know, getting upset if I have a day of it's just inconsistency, that doesn't make it any better. But on the flip side, it reminds me that, okay, being consistent and being diligent of how much I eat, how much exercise, you know, what I do on a daily basis.
Correct.
It helps with maintaining the diabetes in a healthy pattern. So just understanding those two things about myself, whereas, you know, this is part of the process, part of what I have to do every day. So
I like that.
Patience and hard work or diligence, you know.
And something that I pulled several different things, but you said the patience in the process. And for me, I think that diabetes is a process. It's a lifelong process. And, you know, I think sometimes as diabetics, we try to perfect it, and you can't perfect it, because no one day is the same, no 1 week is the same, no 1 month, no 1 year.
Yep.
And, you know, you try to do the same things and get in a habit and get in a routine. The fact of the matter is, you can eat the same breakfast every single day at the same time, take the same amount of insulin, and for 1 week, your blood sugars might be like this. For the next week, they might be like this, and then for the next week, they might be just steady.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we can do the same things, but the outcomes aren't the same. So that patience is very important in just going through that process of like, okay, I had a bad day, I had a bad couple of hours, I had severe lows, I had severe highs, or I was running stable. You know, just being able to have the patience to push through no matter what it is. And, you know, I think we're really resilient for that. I think everybody living with type 1 diabetes, or diabetes in general, type 2, type 1, we deal with so many different things that people really don't know about, and we still have to go about everyday life as if nothing's going on. And a lot of people, they don't get to see that. You know, they don't. You can look at a million different people, and you can look at them, and you wouldn't know if they had diabetes or not.
Right.
But the thing is, we come in so many different shapes, sizes, forms, colors.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we go through something, and I think we are diabetes warriors and all. You know, I really do.
Like that.
And, you know, like you said, the patience is key to everything. I think that's not just with diabetes, but that's also with life, you know. So I think having the patience to be able to deal with diabetes just prove that life is easy, because if you can do this every single day, dealing with this, right, you know, like, you know, so, no.
You're right. You know,
And this would be the last question. Not sure if you're a huge football fan, but who are you taking in the Super Bowl?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. San Francisco. You said that with no hesitation. So you must have money on this game, because that came on. I'd like just finished the question, and you were like, San Francisco. Okay, 49ers.
Yes, I am I'm a big football fan.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I'm a New England Patriots fan. All right, I mean, I'll admit that, but you know, my team is not in the Super Bowl this year. So for all those Patriots non-fans out there, but I do like both teams. Kansas City is definitely electric, and what they can do offense. Patrick Mahomes, but I mean Tyreek Hill. Come on, those guys are insane. But I don't know. I just feel like San Francisco's defense will be able to at least contain them in a way where Jimmy G can hand off the ball. You got Raheem Mozart, you got Emmanuel Sanders. The overall team,
Yep.
San Francisco, I think, is the more complete team.
Okay.
So I'm pulling for San Francisco to.
Okay.
You know, and Jimmy G can get his first ring without being on the bench. That's your starter. But
You said something very key in that. Coming from playing defense, that's important because a lot of people don't understand defense wins championships.
Yeah.
So if they can contain a high electrifying offense like that out of Kansas City, I mean, it's hard to win if you can't score, right?
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, and I feel like San Francisco can definitely, do a good job with that.
Yeah. Well, sounds good.
It should be a good Super Bowl regardless.
Yes. As long as it's a good game. We just want to see a good game.
Yeah,
That's it. As long as we see a good game, fine with it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, Ryan, I definitely do appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Nice to be here.
Diabetes Chalk Talk with Ryan Fleming. Do you want to give out your Instagram handle? How people follow you?
Yeah,
Or?
if you want to take a look, FlemDog21 on Instagram, and then actually I'm on Medium as well. It's a platform where bloggers and writers at least write about things that they want to talk about, topics they find important, which is rflem21, and that's medium.com.
Sounds good. Like I said, thanks again, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Nice being here.
Diabetes Chalk Talk. There you go.
You got it.